Secondary directive. Kill all lanterns.
Got these robotic pretenders.
Welcome to Star Labs. Please use the computers near the doors for access. Have a...
Stars Ball?
Yeah, welcome to Star Labs.
I'm a dying dummy. Why? This is so uneven. How do you pick it up? I'm good. Do this. You picked up with the fuck.
Get us out of here.
I'm a survivor. Oh, I was the second time.
Ow.
I was in the second time today.
Wait, why is everyone in my group green? We're all green. Why are we all green?
Oh, this is fighting game? Oh,
Probably.
fighting game.
Wait, what?
Well,
Serena, what did he say?
He's playing something. This is so annoying.
yeah, that's mental.
There's an F5. I got it, yeah.
Somebody said screaming.
Bro's trying to become anime story. Anime protagonist, is it you? Finally.
I hate robots.
Good. What the fuck is this?
Ooh.
Green Lantern, even your will is no match for the will of Brainiac. Eliminate these humans.
Pick. I pick. No, stop picking me.
Oh. Oh. No.
The door to the rest of the lab is blocked.
Why is it me?
That's why now.
They picked me. They're stupid. No.
Power down the generator.
They were screaming.
Actually,
Brainiac's off me.
this person made a stack of blocks in the top. To what? See?
What?
Please survive. Please, sorry. Cat, please. Shut the fuck up.
Taking up.
I think those
Interesting. And
oh shit.
Constructs like
I died.
okay.
I had to die because I misplaced one. Oh, I come.
Oh. No.
Okay.
Chelsea.
Ow. Raise around. Yeah. What?
Eat laser eyes, bitch.
No, you were in a mental asylum.
Woo!
Hey, sweet, I need.
What? Wait, we're not talking about a mental asylum? I thought we were. I thought we were.
No.
But,
Take it. I don't want it. Take it. You don't want it. Here you go.
wait, so we're not going to a mental asylum?
No. But,
Oh man.
yeah, look up.
Why would you lie to me about...
What do you want from me?
I want to go to a mental asylum.
Damn, person. Take it. I don't want it.
Take it. Don't take it. Don't take it. Don't take it, person.
Shut the fuck up.
Don't take it.
Keep smashing these bucket heads. We've got
What a...
Laser baby.
Meanwhile, me murdering robots.
No.
Die, I hate robots.
What? I literally gave it to you.
Battery is drained. No wonder these bots
Why do you give me the cat?
Get over here. Get over here, fool.
Where are they?
Take it. Take it. There you go. There you go. No. 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 Run. 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 Yeah, why are you trying? Yes. I did it.
Where are they?
Just you can't on the white one. Nah, fuck off. I did it. Just I did. Just die, cat. Damn, out.
Aren't you, Cat? Aren't you, Cat?
Right, go.
We have so much food. Why do we need more? That bitches.
Ooh.
I'm playing this survival game and they.
Yeah.
That's really how it be sometimes.
What? The moments of time are. Why is the man dancing?
And I have work. Like, don't we have enough?
Yeah, absolutely. Oh shit.
There, somebody. Let's clean up around this house. That house, but.
Thank God we got.
Learning forever. I don't even know how to use this. If you just stay there.
Yeah.
Wait,
Depression is apparently
we got the luxury of what back
real.
there? Oh, we do!
I have a feeling those bucket heads didn't have a chance
No.
until you come through the door. Now get to the next chamber and help out Lantern Jordan.
Apparently depression is real.
Thanks for the save.
Yeah, my storage is full!
I think it's the
It's not a
battle
good-
Brainiac is making. It's
Apparently it's not a good thing.
My storage is
might be the best chance we have to save the core.
Man, somebody got to get rid of it.
How do we kill robots?
Choose to drop these bucket heads.
No, idiot.
Okay.
Finish him. Stupid furball.
We don't have much time. Brainiac will send
No, you look like the asthma.
You take on the battle, and I'll keep them off you.
I don't know.
Anyways.
Nah, okay, anyways. Come on, I'm gonna get shot at.
I love how players keep flipping.
I love how these robots want to die.
I don't want to shoot someone so badly in my life.
Can I be your superhero?
I finished it, I guess.
Stop slipping people.
Why are you saying Grimace Shake Simulator?
Because it's funny, see, he looks like a dog. I don't feel so.
Happy birthday, Grimace.
Why is my screen purple?
Yo, say, everyone, let's sing happy birthday to Grimace.
No, you die.
Happy birthday.
Oh, I'm slow.
Hello? Why is he cheating everywhere?
Because they're trying to sing happy birthday to Grimace.
Hey, Dad.
Hi, can I have the Grimace Shake?
I want a Grimace shake.
There you go. Yeah.
I just bought the Grimace shake.
Okay.
Hello. I have 0 instance.
I just fell.
Why did you make me? Okay. Yeah, man.
Oh, you like that dog?
Better.
I watch my kids.
What are incidents? I forget what incidents are. Oh, that car.
Time for me to go, monkey.
Yeah, I just found a secret.
The Grimace Shake, where?
Back in the store.
I think I died. Yeah, I died.
Bye.
Oh, I died.
Juan, how did you die?
Feels so good. Someone joined. Hello?
I'm being very stupid right now, aren't I? I am.
Probably. Enter. This is the door locked. You can't go into the door.
I will find a way.
Felix, I know you joined. Felix?
Ain't feel it.
It was worth a shot. No, someone joined. I heard it.
Yeah, but I need to. Get out there!
I hate.
Whatever part.
Huh?
Oh, you.
Oh, I found the keys.
Behold my power.
In the concierge house.
In the what?
The concierge.
Oh, yeah. Oh, the person.
I want to find it.
Entitled mother calls the police on me for parking in a handicap spot. Here's what happened. Subscribe to my Jerk on YouTube and hit the bell for notifications. For context, I'm a 25-year-old disabled female. I have a handicap placard. I can walk, but it's very difficult to. I realized I was out of stuff for my bearded dragon salad because the collard greens went bad. I decided to go to the store real quick, but it wasn't until I got halfway there that I realized I had left my cane at home. It was a good day and I wasn't in too much pain, so I decided that turning around would be foolish, and if they had an electric cart at the store, I'd just use that. I get to the store and I'm happy to see that there's one handicap spot left, and I snagged it, I grabbed my mask and started walking to the front doors when I'm blocked by an it's livid. She puts her finger on my car and got right in my face, like nose to nose. Neither of us have masks on, as I've only taken about 10 steps and still getting my mask on my face. I'm horrified and take many steps back and throw my mask off as fast as I can.
Excuse me, you're in a handicap spot. People like you are what I'm gonna have to walk far to the door. Now move your car now.
Ma'am, I have a right to be in this spot. I have a placard. I am disabled.
You're not disabled. You don't have a wheelchair. You don't look disabled at all.
Well, ma'am, I am disabled and my doctor agrees, so I'm going shopping.
Ah, yes.
He has problems walking because of his medical issues.
It's not a big deal. Fine.
I'm gonna go shop now. You look like you're done shopping. Sorry there were no open spots for you when you got here. They look really busy. I then walked around them and went into the store. They didn't have any electric carts, so I grabbed a regular cart and leaned on it while getting my dragon's fruits and veggies. I was only in the store for about 20 minutes as I like to pick a bunch of different things to give them some variety. No one likes to eat the same thing every day. I'm walking out of my car and see multiple people standing around a police officer. I see the entitled mother looking very smug, and her kid looking like he wants to die. I approach my car nervously because I have no idea what to do. I've never been in this situation before.
This is the woman who's using the handicap spot without being disabled.
She points at me and looks like she's aiding in catching a dangerous criminal. The police officer asks, "Ma'am, is that your car? Is that your placard in the windshield?" "Yes, sir, and I can give you the info I got with my placard and my ID to prove it." "That would be great." So I get my stuff out of the glove box and also pull out my disability papers on my phone because I'm literally terrified of what's going to happen. Entitled mother is talking about how I'm so in the wrong and I'm going to have to pay a fine. And I'm shaking. Well, everything seems to be in order here. I'm sorry about this, Head. You'll be leaving town and have a great day. Entitled mother looks livid. She starts saying how I can't be disabled. I just can't. The police officer asks her to follow him over to her car. I start loading my groceries and I'm trying to get out of there as fast as possible. Her kid comes up to me. "I'm really sorry about her. I don't know what's wrong with her. I have braces on my legs to help me walk better. I've seen them with my pants on and they really help. But she gets so crazy when she can't park up front." It goes back to his mom, who looks like she's getting a reaming from the officer. I quickly leave because I'm still so freaked out about what happened and I don't want to deal with this jerk anymore. Unfortunately, in situations like this, I feel like a lot of assumptions are made that because the driver is younger, that they're not actually handicapped, which is pretty arrogant if you think about it. Anyone can be handicapped. It's not just for older people. You would think that this is something that she would be more considerate about, considering her son is way younger and is also disabled. At least in this story, the kid is actually disabled, and it's not mom's fault.
What's happening, guys?
Your mom.
Well, fuck you.
Wanting a closer party because she's lazy. I feel bad for the kid that he's having to go through all this. On the plus side, he's know that he's getting better, and hope that continues. Unfortunately, he's still gonna have to deal with his mother. Shit. Some jerk ran up a bunch of market and said my name, thinking I would pay them. You're gonna be paying for them, and then some. A few years back, my old car was on its last legs. My mechanic said it wouldn't last much longer, and the best thing to do was sell it cheap and move on before it gave out and was ready to be scrapped. I loved that little car, and I put it up on Craigslist for $500 and got a bite. The guy buying it was in his 20s with a pregnant wife, and his dad was really good. I was clear with them that it was sold as is, and I couldn't make any promises about its longevity. Finally, said if it lasted 6 months, he'd be happy with the purchase. So he signed the little sale, and I handed over the title. I immediately went to the DMV website and registered it as a sale, and as soon as I finished the process, I transferred the title. Turns out I was wrong about two things. The car lasted much longer than 6 months, and he didn't bother to pay the $77 to transfer the title. I discovered this when I received a photo radar ticket for running a red light. I was confused because the street was way across town, in an area I rarely visit. When I went online to view the high-res traffic cam photos, I found the buyer in my old car, but my name was still attached to the plates. After some serious cursing, I copied all the records, dates, bill of sale, etc., and mailed copies off to the courthouse. It was his citation, but I had to prove it to the court. 2 weeks later, I got another letter from the fuzz. Another ticket, this time for speeding. Same driver, same car, same plates, with my name still attached. Again, I had to copy all the paperwork, write a long letter to the clerk, and hand it off to the courthouse. The third ticket made me really mad. I started making calls and discovered that this scam is pretty common. Some folks buy a junker and rack up fines until they wreck or abandon the car. And her name was never on it, so nobody bothers to collect them for it. It's all call on the previous owner to clean up the mess and prove who was at fault. This time, I wrote an extra long letter to the court clerk and did a little research to include the guy's picture, home address, and list of owners. A few months went by, and I thought it was over. Hell, the car should have been out by now anyway. Then the fourth ticket arrived, showing him in high res zipping past a radar cam in my old car with my old bumper sticker still on the back. Along with all of his kids piled into the back seat, the fifth and sixth tickets felt like Groundhog's Day. I didn't even bother to put the...
Yeah, somebody blew up.
Pokemon Go. I ran over 3 times. Yay.
It felt like Groundhog's Day. I didn't even bother to put the paperwork away. I kept it out on my desk ready to copy. By the time the 7th ticket arrived, we were well over a year beyond the sale, and enough was enough. This wasn't just some dude forgetting to do some paperwork or not knowing the right way to go about buying a car. This was intentional. It was time for some revenge. First, I called the police, and after a week of back and forth, I finally spoke with a traffic cop who said enough was enough, and went to pay the guy a visit. He said that he couldn't disclose what had happened during that discussion, but the total amount of the likely unpaid traffic tickets was enough to get his attention. The tickets and late fees were several times the value of the car. That wasn't enough. Just having to pay his tickets wasn't appropriate revenge for the 7 freaking times I had to copy that bill of sale from the bookmark. So I started going through my records of every ticket and every photo. I found an interesting thing. In every photo, his tiny kids were in the car, including the newborn infant, all packed into the back seat. I called Child Protective Services anonymously. I didn't provide any information that was not 100% factual and verifiable. The tickets showed that this guy was operating an identity fraud scheme out of his home, essentially stealing my identity and who knows how many others. His children were present throughout. Furthermore, he regularly violated traffic rules and put his children in serious danger by speeding, running red lights, and committing other traffic violations. If he was doing this stuff so often in front of a big white camera, how do you think he was running when he wasn't being watched? I declined to provide my name or number as I had nothing more to offer and didn't want to be involved in the case any further. I gave them all the evidence I had of 3 small children who were in danger in illegal situations, all of which were verifiable by photo evidence and court documents. After that, I stopped getting from him. Maybe the car finally gave out. Maybe that's what happened, but I'd like to think that maybe this guy finally got what was coming to him. Maybe a few months in jail and having his kids taken away from him will teach him a lesson. I never actually heard about this scam before, but this is pretty low. You really don't get much out of this. You're paying for the car, and all you're doing is driving recklessly and having someone else foot the bill. Typically...
So guys, what are you guys playing Roblox?
No.
We are.
That's me.
What?
Nothing.
So rude of you, Juan.
What?
How dare you?
Save some time. Surrender now.
Oh,
Look, come here. I don't know.
Kiss your mother with that mouth.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Do 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 do.
What were you doing?
Me? Or sorry, what?
Yes, you. I didn't join you.
I'm just chilling. Chilling as a monkey. Just chilling. Just chilling. I'm just chilling like a monkey. Chilling like a monkey. Ooh, ah, ah, ah. Let's go. Do, 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 do. Let's go. Do, 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 do. Guess who's a monkey? I am. Guess who's a monkey? I am. My mom's proud of me. I'm a monkey.
This is really like, what the hell, y'all, man?
What's happening?
We cannot allow this to occur. Eliminate Brainiac's forces and shut down the energy cells to give Cadmus time to muster reinforcements.
I'm at Area 51, bitches.
Energy source. Energy source. Self-destruction imminent. Self-destruction imminent.
Hemos creado un día por Dios.
Shutting down.
Do 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 do.
Typically, a scam would be something that profits you a little bit more, no? Doesn't seem like it was worth it for the price he had to pay. I feel bad for our original poster for having to deal with all of this. I'm sure it was a headache. But at the end of the day, who knows what situation he got those kids out of? So, it was all for the best, I'm sure. I got my dangerous, sexist high school chemistry teacher semi-fired by secretly recording him. I went to a ghetto high school in a poor community, but my parents raised me to work my butt off so I could get out of there. My parents never went to college, but because of this, myself and my siblings have all gone to good schools out of state. I maintained a 4.0 until the year in question in high school, taking 5 advanced courses a year, out of 6 total, with the last one not offering an honors alternative. I learned to get very little sleep because of the amount of work these courses required, and because my school didn't have tutoring aids or anything of the like. Didn't understand something? Tough luck. Get to Googling. So in one of my upperclassmen years, I signed up for an advanced chemistry course. I knew it would be hard, but assumed like the rest of my courses that if the class was minimally structured and Google came through as per usual, I would be fine. Other students warned me not to take the course, but since I wanted to go to college for chemistry, I knew I had to go through with it. He was old, which is fine, and didn't offer after-class support, which was normal, but also didn't even offer in-class support. His answer to even basic questions was, "You should already understand that, talk to me about it later." But later never came. He didn't offer lunch hours, didn't offer after-school hours, and in class would just put up the answers, which were already available online and in the back of the book. My family didn't have fancy tutor money, and none were readily available in my community anyways. I studied my butt off, but when the first test came back, I had a D-, with no notes to even understand what I had done wrong. When I went to speak with him about it right after class ended, missing my part of the next course in the process, he simply told me to look more closely at the textbook for help, and that he didn't have time for me. He was 2 weeks behind the explanations that he did give because he was constantly distracted. All of this is bad, but didn't deserve him being fired yet. What did was when he got dangerous. In an experiment working with hydrochloric acid, a plug held the concentrated stuff in a tube with some magnesium and reacted to form hydrogen bubbles. Well, one of the other students in my group didn't plug the thing properly and the plug fell out, with the magnesium now being in the tube without the hydrochloric acid. So I asked him how to get the tube back, expecting him to tell us to discard the hydrochloric solution, rinse with water, and start over. I had read the safety section in my textbook, which had this approach to working with acids. His response? He insisted that I stick my ungloved hand in the solution and just grab the plug, and then still in the solution, plug it back in. He wouldn't even put his own hand in to do it, so my high school self thought this was an inherently bad idea. I took some more magnesium from the workbench and kept adding it to the solution, until it stopped reacting, eating up all the hydrochloric acid to just leave water. And it kept getting worse. One day, he brought what he claimed were illegal fireworks into the classroom and started setting them off. He thought it would be funny to point them at us wearing no safety equipment or goggles and hoodies that could have easily caught the fiery things. He frequently would leave the room while a group of high school kids were playing with Bunsen burners and caustic chemicals. So in combination with the total lack of education I was getting, I didn't feel safe. Did I mention he was sexist too? I'm a girl, by the way. All of the boys got A's on tests, with no explanations. He even lost one of the other boys' tests and straight up said in front of me and the rest of the class that he would just give him an A-, assuming that he had done well. Later on, I had asked the other student for help understanding something, and even he didn't know what was going on in the course. So I knew it was just bull. Every other girl I asked was getting the same inexplicable grades as I was. This wasn't unusual on its own either, as I lived in a very conservative area and had several sexist teachers. Just usually they'd at least still grade fairly. Last contextual thing, my high school teachers reunion had negotiated for tenure. After coming to college, I learned that this is a very unusual thing. And in retrospect, it's an idiotic thing. This chemistry teacher was tenured, which meant there was basically no way to fire him. Honestly, I felt bad for the bitter old man, because after a botched surgery, he was constantly in pain. He was still teaching because he refused to retire, and he had a son going through college that he needed to pay for. But at a certain point, this was affecting my chances of getting into college. I wasn't about to let one man's issues affect prospects for the rest of my life. So I looked up recording laws for my state, and found that it was a one-party consent state, meaning I could legally record audio of my teacher as long as the campus didn't say anything against it, and they had no policies, and I was one of the parties consenting. So for a month, with my grade tanking, despite hours of studying and 3 study books on the course, I recorded him. I recorded his fireworks, his lambasting female students, his crying in the back chemical storage room leaving us unsupervised. I recorded the 3 times he had left campus inexplicably, leaving the front office to send a last-minute substitute to open the door and let us in. You know the 15 minutes and I'm legally allowed to leave meme? That was a constant joke for my class. Then I made a throwaway Gmail and a throwaway Dropbox account. I uploaded everything and emailed it to my superintendent with the ultimatum that if something wasn't done, I would email the recordings to the local news and that I... KFC's Ultimate Barbecue. Oh, yeah. That's regularly good. Something wasn't done, I would email the recordings to the local news, and that I didn't really want to do that. Within a day I heard back, with her assuring me that I wouldn't be punished for ratting him out. My parents, her, and myself met. We went over my grades, my unmarked tests and homework, and the videos. They asked me first to talk over my concerns with the teacher, and I said I was uncomfortable with that given his treatment of female students. The superintendent said she wouldn't tell the teacher who had submitted the evidence, but that they needed to speak with him about the concerns to hear his side of the story. My parents and I said that was completely reasonable, as long as my name was never mentioned. The next day, the teacher said he needed to speak with me after class alone. I told him I couldn't as I had another course after that, and he said that it was important. I turned on my phone's recorder again right before the class ended, and as I was packing up, he approached me. Due to the shape of the classroom, I was literally backed into a corner, and would have had to push this man to the side to get out. He then started saying that one of the students in his course had brought unfounded concerns and lies to the administration about what was going on in the course, and that he knew we hadn't always gotten along well, but that he hoped I wouldn't have done that to him. I lied through my teeth and said that I didn't know what he was talking about, that he was making me uncomfortable by blocking my access to the door, and that I was late for my next class. He didn't even deny what I was saying, just said that since I clearly had a problem with him, he'd be willing to stay after class to help me specifically, since it seemed like I was struggling so much. After that, I told him I really needed to get to my next course, and he finally moved. I emailed my superintendent that recording during my next course and CC'd my parents. My parents were furious. The superintendent was mad too, because while my parents were poor, they dressed up nicely. My mom was an expert in bluffing about getting a lawyer that we totally couldn't afford. So a liability lawsuit was probably ringing through the lady's mind. Since the district couldn't fire him, he was put on immediate permanent medical leave. While the district was still paying his full pay, they gave us one unqualified substitute after another. 2 months before the national exam for the course, they gave us a female teacher that they had pulled out of retirement, but that had actually taught the advanced chemistry course for years. She was a godsend, and even held 8-hour Saturday classes so that we could catch up with the curriculum at least enough to pass the class. In those 2 months, we covered just enough of the test material that our class had a 50% pass rate. According to my upperclassmen friends, this was a lot higher than it had been in their previous years, with less than 10% of the class passing. The superintendent also wrote me a thank you college recommendation letter, partially to keep me quiet and partially because they had been trying to get rid of this guy for years. My little sister took this course a couple of years after me and said that the new teacher was competent and that they were still at a 50% pass rate. I guess it's a lot easier to learn when you're not being taught by a jerk.
What did he say, Juan? I thought I heard you say something.
Yeah.
I'm so proud of going straight to the I'm called Skyfire. I'm going to die.
I need a break.
I'm not coming away.
Say 3 more.
Alright.
Great. I could use your help. I gotta transport these munitions out of here. Defend me while I get this teleporter working. I gotta transport these munitions out of here. Defend me while I get this teleporter working.
Hello?
Hello?
I thought my phone died.
Recharge complete.
Let me put my phone on the charger. Hello?
What?
No, just checking.
Great. I could use your help. I gotta transport these munitions out of here. Defend me while I get this teleporter working.
Let's see, come on.
Increasing security at ammunition supply point. Searching for source of disturbance.
Damn it.
What?
I'm down. Wait.
I can go down.
Damn, where is God so I can repair my stuff?
Jesus.
set some massive defense systems in the command base. Here, we may have an edge. The base is radiating a subsonic interference wave that affects the Brainiac sparks in the area.
Oh, there goes Serene.
Cores, and you can reset them to your advantage.
Who left? Oh, everyone left.
I have to admit, I do kind of feel bad for the guy that he was working through all of his pain just because he had to pay for his son's college. But at the end of the day, these are other kids' futures on the line as well. And if he's not doing his job properly, then they're going to be the ones to suffer. I do feel like our original poster did the right thing. Like she said, when it reached the point of getting dangerous, that's where there's a serious problem. You don't care about what you do? Fine, I can understand that. But a classroom is no place for this dangerous behavior, especially a chemistry classroom. You need to be exceedingly careful. I do feel like the tenure probably just made him take the job for granted. I've never heard of high school teachers getting tenure before. I thought that was only a college or university thing. If you guys know anything about this, let me know in the comments. I had to kick my entitled sister out of my engagement dinner because she wouldn't stop taking photos and made a scene. I'm blessed to be marrying the love of my life. My engagement party was booked at an upscale restaurant, and prior to the day, I sat my sister down and told her that I wanted the party to be focused on the wedding, and to please not go above and beyond to take photos for her social media page. I might get flack for this part, but my sister is trying really hard to become famous online. I've never said anything to her because she's an adult and this is her life. But for my wedding, I really didn't want her to pull any of her said anything to her because she's an adult and this is her life. But for my wedding, I really didn't want her to pull any of her antics, because she doesn't take just a few photos to post. She's the embarrassing caricature of the perpetually online influencer. She'll order 2 dishes at a restaurant, one to take photos of because it's prettier, and the second to actually eat. She's stopped traffic before to take outfit photos in the street. She also staged fake things to post online. One time she started crying in a Starbucks and made up a fake story about how the barista bullied her. I want to make it clear that I did not bar my sister from taking photos. I just didn't want her doing something that would embarrass me. Everything was okay, until she literally stood on top of her chair to take a top-down photo of her meal. Everyone was staring and in shock, and a waiter had to come and ask her to sit down. She refused to and started to argue loudly with the waiter, saying that she was the sister of the bride, and then started to loudly sob that she was getting bullied. I was mortified and immediately had the groomsmen escort her out of the room. She's since blasted me on social media, calling me a jerk for not handling the situation with more grace and empathy. She says that I could have given her a warning instead of kicking her out immediately. I was kind of panicked, so I wonder if I could have handled it better. Am I the jerk? No, absolutely not. I'm sorry. This person's acting like a child. If that's the way you're gonna behave, you don't get to sit at the grown-ups table. You gave her warning a full 24 hours in advance because you knew this was gonna happen. And she chose to do it anyway. I have no sympathy for her. She sounds like the typical I'm the center of attention drama queen trying to post everything on social media. And like you said, she's just looking for a story, so she makes a scene on purpose. This is your engagement party. She can leave her job elsewhere for the day and behave like an adult. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications. Put the playlist on in the background to finish listening to all of the stories, linked at the top of the description. And if you like Am I the Jerk, give Am I the Genius a shot, linked in the description as well. Either way, thanks a lot for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.
This story took place the day after the launch of the Nintendo Wii. Our store had a guarantee that if you pre-ordered a Wii by a certain date, then you would get one. If you had not pre-ordered one, then it was first come, first serve for the remaining stock. No one was able to place an order or reserve one after the release day, as we could not guarantee when we would get stock back in. The day after release, we had just opened and I was standing by the entrance of the door to greet customers when this big, angry-looking guy comes charging through the door straight up to me. Customer, do you have any Nintendo Wii's in stock? Me, hi, I'm sorry, we're sold out of the stock we had yesterday. On hearing this, the customer stamped his foot and slammed his shopping bags against his side. I knew at this point that drama was about to unfold. Customer, right, well I want to pre-order one. Me, I'm sorry. We can no longer take pre-orders as it's now after release day, and we are unable to take orders as we cannot guarantee when we will receive stock back in since the product is in such high demand. Customer, that's a lie. Me, what? Customer, you're lying to me. I was in here 2 weeks ago and I was told if I pre-ordered one, I was guaranteed one on the day of release. At this point I'm thinking, maybe I've misunderstood and he has in fact pre-ordered one. So I made an attempt at clarifying. Me, oh, so you are here to collect a pre-order. Do you have your order slip and receipt? Customer, no, I don't have an order slip. You should have one from me because I inquired about wanting one weeks ago. Either give me one now or order one for me. My son wants one. Me, that's not how it works, unfortunately. We only pre-order with the deposits. If you have not paid a deposit, then we do not have a pre-order for you. I cannot order you one either as our system will not let us. Customer, that is ridiculous. Give me a manager right now, as you are obviously incapable of sorting this mess out. I will not leave here without the Wii. As angry as this guy already was, he was about to get even angrier, as I now had to inform him that I was in fact the manager on duty and the only one around. I was a supervisor who did opening and closing. Supervisors were designated managers on duty when there were no real grown-ups around. The guy flipped out, pointing his finger at my face, calling me a liar, telling me there is no way some little girl was a manager. Just as I was starting to worry this guy was about to physically assault me, something wonderful happened. I felt something brush over the top of my shoulder from behind, and suddenly the customer's face dropped and he was being dragged towards the door. Unbeknownst to me, our security guard had just come on shift and was just entering the shop floor when he heard the customer screaming at me. He walked straight up from behind, grabbed the guy by his neck, and dragged him outside backwards, telling him, "You're done." Once a month, the guy stood between me and the security guard, almost foaming at the mouth with rage for a good minute before turning and storming out of sight. My first thought on this whole story is I thought that most security guards were instructed not to touch customers, but in this case the security guard grabbed him by the neck and dragged him, I guess. Maybe that's an exaggeration, but somehow got him outside the store. It's got to be so frustrating on the launch of a new console and somebody is demanding something that you just physically do not have. It's not the person at the store's fault that they don't have the stock that is available. They might not have known how crazy demand would be, or even if they did know how big the demand would be, that doesn't mean they can just get more if they're not being manufactured, kind of like in the modern day with the PS5. It is pretty hilarious that he thinks that by inquiring about the pre-orders that that's the same thing as actually having a pre-order, and that just by asking how pre-orders worked, that he would somehow have a Wii waiting for him, which makes no sense, obviously. I also wonder how these kind of relationships happen between parents and their kids, where the parent is promising their kid they're going to get him this thing, but is the parent this aggressive towards the kid, or is the...
Oops.
So 2 days ago, I was in a car accident, and within about 30 seconds...
High school creep verbally assaults my BFF for rejecting him, so I expose his messages to the entire school and get him suspended. Here's what happened. Subscribe to Am I the Jerk on YouTube and hit the bell for notifications. This story happened when I was in high school. I went to a smallish high school, around 950 students ranging from the 9th to 12th grade. With so many students in one place, I had quite a few good friends that I talked to, but only a handful that I hung out with and talked with on a daily basis. Now, there was a certain person in our social group. Let's call him Bailey. Bailey was a social outcast by many people's standards. Not by bullying or hazing or mistreatment from the other students. It's just that no one really liked him because he was a jerk all the time. He was always playing the victim when he was rejected by girls. He even threatened to ruin the lives of said girls who did reject him. He harassed girls online and touched them in uncomfortable places in person after being told to stop. Stomach, lower back, neck, things like that. He begged for money from people. He was a sexist and racist person to all races and ethnicities. He put himself into other people's conversations and generally wasn't a very nice person to hang around. I have a really good friend. Let's call her A. A has been my best friend ever since I can remember, and she's a wonderful, sweet, and generous person to everyone. One day, we got out for winter break. A came up to me in the hallway before the end of school, bawling her eyes out. I asked her to tell me what was wrong, and she said that Bailey had asked her out before she went to her class over text. But when she declined after explaining that she already had a boyfriend, all hell broke loose. He called her an N-word slut and said she should kill herself because of how fat she was. He said no one loved her because she was a mixture of the two worst races, and said that no one would want her because she's a C-word, and said she had a stinky woohoo area. A had some insecurities about herself, and Bailey hit every single one of them point blank. I was seething with rage while reading her texts, and I was completely appalled and disgusted at his behavior. I told her to dry her eyes and send me screenshots of the conversation he had with her. When she asked what I was going to do with them, I simply told her that I'd had enough of him harassing girls, and I was going to do something about it. Now, I wasn't going to confront him directly, not with how angry I was at the moment. Instead, I decided to rally the troops and get ready for the bloodbath. I was going to massacre what was left of his entire high school career, his entire life. Now, Bailey had done this to girls before, and luckily I had those girls' numbers saved in my phone because they were my friends and would send each other memes. So I made a group chat and asked everyone to send any type of rude, racist, sexist, or failed attempt to be asked out screenshot over any type of social media that Bailey had sent to them. Over the next 15 minutes, my phone was blaring with text notifications. There were screenshots of Snapchat stories, Facebook comments, text messages. All in all, I had around 60 photos of sexist, racist, or unsolicited pictures or jerk comments or rants that he had made to 15 females, including myself. Over winter break, I composed all of those screenshots into a nice little PowerPoint and saved it in my flash drive on my laptop. I spoke with our principal and I asked him if I could show him something relevant to the safety of the student body during his free break at lunch. He told me that he had no problem with it and a time was set. When it finally comes time for my meeting with the principal, I have a small parade of girls behind me who wanted to come testify, anxiously holding on to each other's hands. We were invited into the principal's private conference room as he sets up his laptop and plugs my flash drive in to connect it to the projector. The principal called in some teachers to be witnesses and called Bailey down to the conference room to take a seat and try to defend himself if the allegations weren't true. The principal clicks the remote to play my presentation, and it slowly begins to load up. The first slide comes up, and the room goes deathly silent, with a few gasps of shock. As the slides continue on, I notice Bailey squirming around in his seat, clearly uncomfortable, and the people in the room are getting more agitated and angry. Halfway through the slides, Bailey jumps to his feet and throws his arms in front of the projector screen to censor out a particular image that he had sent to a girl, even though she had blurted out. He tried to explain that he was joking with the comments about race and being a guy or girl, and that these girls were framing him for something he didn't do. He pointed to me and said that I was the ringleader of this operation and that I should be the one who was thrown on the spot, not him. The entire room was tense, and the principal turned on the lights with his hands on his hips and let out a giant sigh. The principal turns to me and tells me thank you for bringing this to his attention, and he asks if he could take the flash drive and use it for the investigations and alleged rumors that were going on about Bailey. I gave it to him, and he thanked me again before he left with Bailey and the teachers in tow. Since I copied the original slideshow to my flash drive, I sent the PowerPoint to not only mutual friends at the school, but also his mom and dad through Facebook. All of them were not only absolutely disgusted by his comments, but his family was extremely distraught. But thankful I brought this up to their attention. A few days later, the entire school was summoned to the gym for an announcement. Bailey was there with his parents on either side of him and his frail grandma on the small stage we have set up for concerts and band productions. It turns out the parents, mainly the grandma, wanted it to be known that there are consequences for your actions. And since the grandma was head of the household, she called the principal and requested an assembly to address her grandson's behavior. The slideshow is playing on repeat on a projector in the background for everyone to see. The principal said a few words about how harassment in any shape, form, or fashion would not be tolerated, and neither would sexism or any form of racist behavior or comments. The principal made Bailey apologize publicly to the school about his behavior, and how he would never do it again. His parents were embarrassed, but they also apologized to the school and to the young ladies that he had harassed. His grandmother did not let him off so easily. She slapped his knee with her cane hard and started yelling at him for being so disgusting and such a disappointment to her and to the rest of the family. Bailey started to cry on the stage as his mother...
It's more barbecuing with every barbecuing bite I take. That's finger like it good.
Pokemon Go. And to the rest of the family. Bailey started to cry on the stage as his mother and father tried to calm down his grandmother. Once everything calmed down, they were escorted off the property. He was suspended for the rest of the year for verbal harassment and racist comments. Later on in the same year, I found out that he had tried to rob a grocery store and was now facing trial for battery, assault with a deadly weapon, and armed robbery. My friends and I all graduated happily, and I never saw that jerk again. I don't understand how there are people that exist in the world that think this type of behavior is in any way acceptable. Normally, I would start looking at the parents, but it sounds like he's actually got some people looking over him that want him to be a decent person. So I really don't know what went wrong here, honestly. But either way, the pattern of behavior that he's developed is absolutely disgusting. I don't need to sit here and tell you that these things are not okay to say. Honestly, stories like this just make me angry more than anything. There's nothing to really be said here. This behavior is wrong, and it cannot be allowed, period. Grandma seems to have the right idea. Maybe a couple more whacks with that cane will get him in line. I really do hope they censored parts of that presentation for the General Assembly, though. Entitled Karen that I babysit for yells at my mom because I ate 2 cookies while I was at her house. So I made sure to get back at her in the best way possible. When I was in my teens, I had a paper route, mowed lawns, that sort of thing. For extra money, I also babysat. One of my paper route customers wanted a babysitter for a Saturday night, and I took the gig. They wanted me there for 7 p.m., and I was 10 minutes early. The wife kept an immaculate home. Everything in its place and very tidy. When I arrived, she gave me the rundown, including pointing out how she had graciously provided me a snack, 2 Oreo cookies and a glass of juice on the counter. I had skipped dinner, and soon after they left, I explored the pantry, found the bag of Oreos, and helped myself to 2 more. Now, this pantry was the size of a large walk-in closet, and it was stuffed. There were lots of canned goods, all facing forward with the labels in perfect alignment. There were cereal boxes set up on the shelves in descending sizes. I don't know if she was a 1970s version of a doomsday prepper, but there was a ton of stockpiled food in there. All went well until they returned. The wife said she was paying me from 8 p.m., even though I arrived before 7, because they were late leaving. She also made a point of magnanimously pointing out that the hubby was giving me a free ride home. Lady, it's after midnight and I'm 15. Did you expect me to walk home? Whatever. Then the storm hit. The next day, she shows up at our house, freaking out on my mom, calling her a lousy parent and me a thief. Why? Because I ate those 2 cookies. That's right. She counted the Oreos and found 2 missing. The argument was short. My mom told her to screw off, and she roared away down the street. Fast forward a month or 2, and I'm delivering the Saturday paper in the early afternoon. And hubby asks if I'm available to babysit that evening. Apparently, the babysitter they had arranged backed out at the last minute. Against my better judgment, I accepted. I could use the cash. The wife made a point of mentioning that she didn't want a repeat of last time, and made me agree not to eat anything but what she had laid out for me. Fine. I didn't know at the time, but it's clear the wife suffered from OCD. If I had known, I probably wouldn't have done what I did. I have a little more knowledge about psychological conditions now, but at the time, all I knew was that this woman was a jerk who had yelled at my mom. So as soon as they left, I got to work. I removed every label from every can in the pantry. She had them all set up by categories. Soups on one shelf, canned fruit on another, canned vegetables on a different shelf. I scattered them. I also shuffled the boxes around. I messed that pantry up any way I could. I pulled out the tray from the Chips Ahoy cookies and put them in the Oreos bag, and then put the Oreos in the Chips Ahoy bag. I pulled out the bag from the Rice Krispies box and swapped it with the cornflakes. You get the idea. Then I left a note on the floor that said, "Don't ever call me again." They paid me when they got home, and I said I would walk home. I then took the money they gave me and left it in their mailbox on the way out. The next morning, I gave my parents a heads up about what I had done, just in case Psycho Wife showed up again. They were disappointed, but quite amused. She never showed up. I continued the paper route for some time, but within a few days, I had received notice that they had canceled their delivery of the newspaper. Fine with me. Over the next few months, I would see them now and again and would simply look at them and smile. They would scramble back into the house, avoiding me. There were also some kids on my route that had some experience with this woman, and apparently she had treated others badly as well. That was the reason she couldn't find a sitter. Word had gotten around to avoid that jerk. When I told one or two what I had done, they all thought it was brilliant and wished they'd thought of it. I agree that it definitely sounds like she had OCD. Her behavior kind of indicates that, between counting of cookies and being that upset that two are missing, along with all the labels being in perfect alignment in the pantry. All of that shouts obsessive-compulsive disorder. Now, you did address that and say that you didn't understand that kind of thing at the time, which I get. But I'm sure hubby in this story had to deal with a heck of a lot for the next couple days. I do gotta give you points for creativity on how you managed to screw with her, though. I can't say I would have had the patience to be that thorough. Rich jerk constantly screws with my friend, so my friend gets him sent off to military school. This happened to my friend G back in the 1960s. He was 14 to 15 years old in high school in a small West Coast town in the USA. G was a small, easygoing kid. He did some work cutting lawns or something for his rich jerk neighbor of the same age. And of course, Rich Jerk stiffed him. G's parents complained to Rich Jerk's parents, who couldn't believe their perfect little son would ever do such a thing. There were a couple of other incidents, mostly Rich Jerk stealing credit at school for work G had done, or general bullying. But Rich Jerk was a suck-up as well as a weasel, and nothing ever happened. He wasn't even suspected. Key point, Rich Jerk had an electric typewriter, which was rare in my high school days, and bragged about it and showed off his efforts. He claimed to get better grades on typed paper. G saw an opportunity here. Like most of the houses in town in that bygone era, security was minimal. It was easy to slip in an unlocked window. So that's what G did when the house was empty. He brought a little file with him, and filed a little off the bar of the E character on the typewriter, just enough to make it unique. Then he very slowly typed up a page. G didn't type, so it was Hunt and Peck. The page started with, "Ha ha, the stupid teacher never reads this far, he's a real jerk face," and continued for a full page. It used every dirty word he could think of, and especially insulted the vice president in charge of the teachers. He then left with this piece of paper, leaving everything else untouched. Several weeks later, Rich Jerk had typed another paper. It was paperclipped together as per the requirements. G somehow managed to distract either him or the teacher and slid his special sheet in the middle. Rich Jerk failed the class, even though he'd been getting good grades up to that point. He appealed to the vice president. The extra insults directed the VP's way made the VP allow the teacher's grade. Rich Jerk clicked.
Launch missile sequence.
Rich jerk claimed that someone else must have typed that, but upon closer examination, the modified E character matched on all the pages, and didn't match any other typewriter. Checkmate. His own parents didn't believe him. Once they started looking, they found a lot more bad behavior that they'd ignored, and Rich Jerk ended up in military school, not the place you want to be in the 1960s. Well, I doubt it was your intention to get him shipped off to military school. You can't argue with the results on this one. I don't blame our original poster for what happened. It seemed like it all just kind of snowballed from that initial incident that they kicked off. But it seems that this jerk of a kid had it coming. At least this way, our original poster's friend was free to not have to deal with this jerk anymore. My school cafeteria was serving food that was just unedible, so I had to do something about it. Back in my college days, I lived on campus and ate the 20 meals a week meal plan at the cafeteria. It was terrible. Seriously. I know people complain about their college cafeteria all the time, but they still gain their freshman 15. I lost mine. The food was disgusting. Sunday spaghetti was made from tomato sauce and Saturday's cheap hamburgers. One week, they didn't bother ripping up the hamburgers. Watery, sauce-tinted, overcooked noodles garnished with dry, leathery, 2-day-old hamburger patties. It was still better than the other options. At first, they had a make-your-own pizza line, but removed it because everyone was using it, and apparently bread isn't cheap. I remember seeing a real salad in their Healthy Eats line and getting excited, because it's hard to screw up salads, only to realize it was literally floating in oil. The salad on the actual salad bar was not an option. It was changed out every morning, whether it needed it or not. Oh, sorry, I meant the ice in the salad bar. Not the salad, no. A student wrote his initials in the tuna, and it remained there for a solid week. Sometimes the salad would grow its own salad. They had a big board set up for student complaints, and they would write responses back. Oddly enough, the board rarely had bad things to say. The manager, may he be haunted by 1,000 bedbugs, confessed that he didn't have the time to answer every complaint, but he did read every one, and took the complaints into consideration. And from there, as far as we could tell, he would proceed to throw away all the ones he didn't like. At one point, the Board of Trustees wanted to meet with students. Only a handful of students, but I got my name on the list. The food was catered by the cafeteria. Basic sandwiches, if I recall. Still, the first step of any revenge is to make a big deal out of it. And boy, did I. Man, this sandwich has real lettuce on it. This is way better than what the cafeteria usually serves us. And the meat doesn't even have a rind on it. The trustees laughed it off. Surely it wasn't that bad, right? I didn't even have to answer. The other students filled in the details. Forcefully, for the rest of the meeting. It was supposed to be about general issues, but it became yell about the food situation. It was awesome. The administration, with the trustees yanking on their ear, had a talk with the cafeteria manager, and thus Steak and Shrimp Night was born. It was touted as a really big deal, where they were going all out with super awesome food. Both the administration and the cafeteria promised great things. The students almost believed them. They made such a big deal out of it. The doors opened and someone was there handing out tickets. 1 ticket each. You could use it to get either a steak or some shrimp. A leathery, overcooked, gristly, thin, tiny steak, or micro-sized, overcooked popcorn shrimp. Students left to eat ramen in their dorms in droves. People were angry. Students flooded the comment box with so many comments, the top actually broke off from the interior pressure. And the next day, the comment board had a single note on it, thanking the staff for the delicious meal. Now, the organization that ran the cafeteria was run by corrupt, money-grubbing jerks. But they were based out of state and super cheap, so there was no way we could touch them. Plus, a lot of employees were actually really nice people. It was the manager and his wife, that were the problem. There was no way to fix it, until survey day, a few weeks before the end of the semester. Desperate for more than 6 entries total, the cafeteria was giving away a bike. Anyone who filled out a survey was entered for a chance to win. Not that anyone cared. The students had been ignored so long, they assumed the bike would be won by the manager, and having their name attached to the survey was extra super bad. I, however, hatched a plan. The poor lady handing out surveys was not allowed to do anything else that day. She was the survey lady. End of story. And she was supposed to stay until the last survey was handed out. I offered to pass out some surveys, and she gladly accepted. I took a stack of surveys to a back table and filled in every single one of them. Name, phone number, bad, zero, terrible, would not buy again, on to the next. Fun fact, the top of the survey with my name was designed to tear off. The name went in the bowl for the bike drawing, and the survey was submitted suddenly anonymously. I filled out a stack, returned them, then filled out another, and kept coming back until I filled out the very last survey she had. Revenge isn't for quitters. As I walked back to my dorm, my hand was sore, but my heart was light, and so began the falling dominoes. I didn't learn the full story until the next semester, but as it turned out, the survey was the worst on record. Administration, who had been watching closely, noticed. Angry meetings were had. Meetings that the cafeteria didn't cater. The health inspector was invited, and gleefully slapped some hefty fines on the parent company. School cafeteria fines are no laughing matter, it seems. By the end of the semester, the manager was collecting his last paycheck. His wife was fired too. Probably because she was a troll. Seriously, I'm pretty sure she lived under a bridge and bullied goats. The university got a sweet new please don't tell anyone deal. And, oh man, the food. It tasted like food. Glorious day. Oh, and just to add insult to injury, I won the fight too. I'm sure everyone on campus was touting you as a hero that day. Cafeteria food is infamously horrible. Having to live off of it is not a pleasant experience for anyone that has to. But you know what? One way or another, this needed to happen. Clearly they had become complacent in their routine of serving bad food, and it would take something big like this to actually shake up the system at this point. You probably could have saved yourself a lot of time and effort by just making a call to the health inspector, though. If it's as bad as you were describing from what you see, I can only imagine how bad it was behind the counter. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications. Put the playlist on in the background to finish listening to all the stories, linked at the top of the description. And if you like Am I the Jerk, give Am I the Genius a shot, linked in the description as well. Either way, thanks a lot for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.
Introducing Life 360 SOS. To send a silent alert, simply tap the big button. Your location will be sent to your circle members, emergency contacts, and a 24/7 emergency dispatcher. And if you're in a situation where you feel uneasy and might need help, hold your finger on the button until you're safe. The SOS message will only be sent when you let go. With Life 360 SOS, help is always just a tap away.
My crazy entitled mother secretly records my therapy session and is now threatening to use it against me in the court of law, all because I said things about her in therapy that she did not like, and now I don't know what to do. Here's what happened. So my mother never told me that there was now a camera or an audio recording device in the living room. I tried to find it, but it's not visible from what I found. I also had a therapist as an adult, to where my therapy sessions were private, and on the phone due to COVID lockdown at the time. This particular session, I was touching on the topic of the way my mother treats me and makes me feel. Without me knowing, as she was at work and I was alone with my kid at home, she recorded the entire session. And this was all without my consent. She came home and then threatened to press charges on me for slandering her name. I told her she had no right to record my private sessions. She then tried to blame me and said, maybe next time you won't do it in front of a camera. And I asked her, what camera is she talking about? And she didn't point to anything. She just said, I put a new camera in the living room. I replied to her and said, my therapy sessions are private. And if you take
not this mission.
you wouldn't be favored, as you aren't supposed to record somebody
No.
and use their private therapy sessions against them. I have a right to my own thoughts and opinions. And if you knew anything about therapy or how I have it set up with my therapist, she wouldn't say anything to anyone unless it threatened mine or my daughter's well-being. She then goes off on this tangent, stating that she's never done anything wrong to me. And when she said that, I wanted to snap. I wanted to yell at her about the years of mental, emotional, and physical abuse, as well as the neglect I've endured because of her. I had to grow up at 5 to care for my little brother because she simply wouldn't do it. I'm not sure if I'm in the wrong, but my therapist says that what I feel is going on is how I see it, and it is valid. She should not have recorded my therapy session. It's illegal in the state of Texas to record a conversation that you are not involved in. And she basically broke a law and threatened to use what I said against me. I don't know if my reaction was right, but she refuses to delete the recordings to this day. I'm worried that she may try to take me to court, and while there was nothing incriminating, she says that she might be able to use it as a slander case against me, even though what I said is all 100% true. My therapist could even contest to it, as she has some recordings of what I deal with on a daily basis. Am I in the wrong for telling my therapist how my mother treats me? Because my mother even said, "You don't talk about me to anyone, not even your friends." She has even been witnessed on call actively treating me like garbage, and then blames me by saying, "You need to stop telling people I'm a bad person." And this is especially prevalent when other people witness it over call as it happens. This is all honestly so distressing, and I simply don't know what to do. The way your mom is acting is absolutely out of line. Therapy is supposed to be a private experience where you can be open and honest about your inner feelings. It's one of the few places where you can be completely honest and there really won't be any kind of judgment. Like, you really can't just say whatever you want to say. So with that in mind, what you say in therapy, even when it's as brutally honest as possible, it absolutely needs to be confidential. Otherwise, situations like this could arise. It's honestly horrifying that your mom would seriously record your therapy session and then threaten to try and use it against you. I mean, what kind of psychopath seriously acts like that? And you said it best. Where you come from, it's illegal to privately record someone against their consent, especially when you are not involved in the conversation at hand. You're just some weird bystander trying to get the dirt on what your daughter's saying about you, and that's just crazy to me. So honestly, it might be time for you to lawyer up. I think talking to an attorney and discussing this with someone who knows the ins and outs of the law would really be your best bet. You can make assumptions of what you can and can't do, as well as every hypothetical that you could possibly think of. But at the end of the day, an actual lawyer probably would be your best bet. So hopefully all of this goes well, because I would be so traumatized if that happened to me. I can't imagine what it feels like to be discussing openly the things that your mother did, only for her to be like, "Oh yeah, I recorded everything you said, and I'm gonna try and use it against you." I mean, if that's not proof that she's clearly guilty of all the things that you said, I don't know what else is. She very clearly wants to try and control the narrative, and just know, I really think that if she does try to go public with the things that you said, this will only make her look like a terrible mother and probably confirm everything you've ever said in your therapy session. Because this lady sounds like a nightmare, and you have a right to privacy to discuss these issues. If you like Am I the Jerk, you're probably going to love Am I the Genius. Check it out, link down below in the description. My girlfriend has invited me out with her friends for New Year's Eve, but I really want to try and have something more private and intimate with my girlfriend, since this is going to be our first one together as a couple, and I honestly don't know what to do. So me and my girlfriend have been together for a year now. A few months ago, I mentioned that for New Year's Eve, we should do something together, as it will be our first. This was a while back, so she may have forgotten, and it was in a passing conversation. Last month, while we were having a meal, she mentioned that her friend was planning a group New Year's Eve party and then going to an event, and that she's going and I should come along too. When she said this, I won't lie, I was taken aback. The way she said it made me feel like she's already decided and I should just come along with her. I was expecting us to do something together, and I was a little surprised, to be honest. I think I said something like, "I'll see if I can go," and it was discussed no more. A few days ago, my girlfriend brought it up again in person for us to spend it with her friends, and I may have implied I was up for it. Some other things were going on at the time, so I didn't really give it much thought. She went out with the exact exact same group of friends on this day that I will be seeing on New Year's Eve. My girlfriend had messaged me saying that her friend had bought her a ticket and sent me the link to get one for myself. I'm not too sure that I'd fully enjoy the event, but it will be a brand new experience. This is because the event will be playing cultural music, and while I am from that culture too, I never listen to any of it, so I don't really know any of the words or the language or anything like that. All of her friends do know the words, and I'm worried I won't be able to fit in. In past relationships, I've always looked forward to being invited out by my partner to meet her friends. I am an easygoing person to get along with, and I really do enjoy it. However, I've never had a girlfriend who has acted this way before. It was enough of a deviation that I noticed it on the first instance that we've been in a group setting. My girlfriend has restrictive parents, so she is used to lying to go out or just to do anything. My girlfriend also becomes a different person when she's in a group setting with her friends. It's almost like she's putting on a performance. I'm a relatively confident person, but it's almost like she forgets I'm there in situations like these. I've noticed this on more than one occasion. It's important to mention that when she went out with this group of friends last week, I believe that she lied to me, as she was meant to be going out with girlfriends. She invited me out, but I said no because it seemed like a girls' night out. But she instead met up with some more friends, including some guys at a hotel room. She said they were walking to the bar, and her friend needed to go to the bathroom, and they just by chance bumped into these friends, who she's very close with. My girlfriend just texted me that night that her friend needed to go to the bathroom at the hotel, and that's it. She omitted the part that they all went up to the room to pre-drink at the party. I don't believe her story of just simply bumping into them at all. I clarified her movements, and they just don't tally up with what she is saying. I honestly believe that they planned to meet up, and my girlfriend lied to my face about it. On the night, I had such a strong gut feeling that I was being lied to that I simply could not sleep. In the day after, she did tell me that she went to the hotel room by coincidence, but did not tell me on the night. She also followed the 4 guys there on Instagram, which is fine, but she didn't even mention it. My girlfriend had spoken about some of her friends throughout our relationship, and I've met them once or twice, most of them female, but I've not gone out of my way to follow them back. It's also important to mention that me and my girlfriend have never had a proper night out, as in staying out till like 2 in the morning, and that is since the year that we've been together. She's always had to be home by 11 o'clock at night due to having a curfew, and she drives instead of using an Uber. Our first 6 months together were bliss. I genuinely thought I met the woman of my dreams. I thought I found my teammate. However, in the last few months, my girlfriend's behavior has made me think differently altogether. My girlfriend is a self-proclaimed people pleaser, and at this point, I'd never met any of her friends, so I thought nothing of it, but after seeing her with friends, it makes sense. Since these last few months, I get the feeling that my girlfriend is not my teammate anymore, even though she tells me she loves me. Small things have happened where she's not followed through with her word. Sometimes I get the sense that my girlfriend has developed the attitude that she's going to do whatever she wants, and I simply have to deal with it. I used to trust this girl fully not too long ago. I used to fully believe in her as well, but now I do doubt what she's telling me. I haven't confronted her about the suspected lying about this hotel party yet, because I have some exams after the new year, and I can't afford to stress or have some kind of conflict about this. I plan to truly bring it up to her after that. Even though I've informally sort of agreed to go to this New Year's Eve party and join her friends, can I still tell my girlfriend that it would be nice to spend New Year's Eve together as a couple, and especially because it's our first. I'm worried if I text her this, I'll get a standoffish response, similar to her just saying, well, I already made plans, you do you, or that she's already bought a ticket, which is a relatively small sum of money, and it's not really that much. I still haven't confronted her of the suspected lying, and I won't lie, it's honestly slowly eating me away. What?
Pinterest, Pintiawa Sedu, Sabek Mangoyu, Adio. Download now.
The desert's a tough adversary, but at least it doesn't hide anything.
Lying feeling, and I won't lie, it's honestly slowly eating me away. What should I do? I think the New Year's Eve party is probably going to happen whether you go or not. It seems like she's already got her heart set on that, so I really don't know if there's much you can do in that regard. And you're right, I think it really is unfortunate that she basically decided this all for you. I think if anything, maybe next time you want to have some kind of one-on-one time with her, make the plans ahead of time and say, hey, I've got these plans for us to spend New Year's Eve together as a couple at dinner or at a resort or something like that. Leaving it up to chance will only open this up for something like this to happen in the future. When it comes to her possibly lying, you better make sure you have your ducks in a row when it comes to that, because accusing your girlfriend of lying is only going to end badly in my opinion, especially if you don't have some kind of evidence associated with it. And unfortunately, a gut feeling is not evidence. So maybe in the future when plans are being made, speak up sooner about what you want and maybe give some kind of counter offer before it's too late, because I think in this situation, it most definitely is too late to have any kind of party or get together for just the two of you on New Year's Eve. My new partner is really boring to me, and I'm unsure if I really just don't like him or if this is some kind of problem with me overthinking. And at this point, I don't know what to do. So I've been dating this guy for about 3 months, and we met on a dating app. We started back and forth for the first month, and then we started meeting in person, as well as going on dates, and eventually starting to hook up exclusively. Sometimes it feels right, but most of the time these days, I just would rather avoid him, and I've even considered breaking things off altogether. My 3 main issues are that it feels like we have nothing to talk about. He's one of those people who calls all the time, but half the time, neither of us are saying anything, because the other half of it feels like banter about nonsensical things. It feels like his go-to jokes are super repetitive, and I find myself losing patience with it, as opposed to finding it funny like I did 6 weeks ago. Physically, I was initially attracted to him, but he just turns me off. It's partially what I feel like is a lack of effort on his part. I always make sure to look, smell, and feel wonderful, and he shows up in the same hoodie and jeans no matter what. He had the audacity to comment on what I was wearing once, like he ever switches it up, ever. He usually comes over after work, so I tried to not hold that against him, but he also wants intimacy every time, so I honestly feel like effort wouldn't hurt in this situation. I also get generally grossed out when he burps or spits or farts, and it's killing the attraction for me. The last one is really minor, and it could just be him joking around, but he'll joke about how I'm digging into his wallet because I want to eat out every time he comes over, and completely ignoring the fact that I pay for half of our dates and have taken us to more expensive places, so I have arguably spent more money, and he is already the one coming to my place, so I'm cleaning and getting ready at the same time. For some context, I can't go to his place because his mom isn't the nicest person apparently. Overall, it just feels like a lot of effort on my part, but he is a good person and we have fun when I'm not overthinking it. So it really begs the question, should I stay with him or am I just trying to avoid some kind of relationship and I'm really just trying to pick apart minor things that didn't be fixed? What should I do? I gotta say, reading that first half of it, I really would be under the assumption that you don't like this guy. Like you really dug into him really hard, basically saying that he doesn't try, that he's super repetitive, and you're just kind of an attraction to him. At the same time, you end this by saying that he's a good person, and that you do have fun around him when you're not overthinking it. So maybe that's what's going on here. Maybe you're just overthinking the situation, and it sounds like you're not communicating with him at all. Like it sounds like you have all these issues that you really do have with the way he looks and the way he's acting overall, but you haven't laid out any kind of game plan with him for him to try and change or to at least see where you're coming from. Like you never know. If you said, hey, could you wear something different when you come by? He very easily could be like, okay, I'll wear something different and go along with it, no problem. Or even if you explain to him, hey, I don't like it when you obviously burp and fart like that. It's kind of unattractive and I don't like it. Or something like that along those lines to maybe communicate to him and share your needs and your expectations in this relationship. Like that really could go a long way, because when it comes down to it and you're not overthinking things, you do have a good time. And that's something you can at least hold on to, especially when it's this early into a relationship. You are getting to know each other still. So if anything, I say keep giving it a try. See if these minor adjustments can be made. And who knows, this relationship could very well still work out. My entitled coworker
coworker is constantly harassing me at work, always trying to find ways to put me down and make me feel like an idiot. And I've honestly had enough and I don't know what to do. So to start off, I have some disabilities as the result of a car accident. Nothing you can really see except for a small scar on my face. And that's going to be very important for this story. So my front of house by the name of Ariel had personal issues going on and cussed me out over a misunderstanding. I had been there 5 days. I spoke with my friend and owner and he assured me that this would not happen again and she just had a really bad day. I said okay and I can understand that. I came back and every shift with her has been a literal nightmare. She has berated me non-stop on nearly every shift. Well, the straw that broke the camel's back is when I came in for a shift 1 hour after finding out that the man who raised me had passed away that morning. I came into work and let everyone know I wasn't at my best, but I would set it aside because I didn't want to call out, knowing they may not be able to find someone that quick to work a shift. From the moment I walked in, she treated me like the biggest piece of garbage. I mean, pure hatred is what I felt from her. I did everything, from walk the wrong direction down the hall, to being slow to her liking, to asking her if I could help her, which honestly just made her crazy. I asked her at one point towards closing if there was anything I can do for her, and she literally looks at me dead in the eye, smiles, and explicitly says, "Don't you think you've been here long enough to know what you're doing? Read the list." And when she said that, I almost lost my mind right then and there. I wasn't asking what needed to be done for clothes. Everyone else...
Traitor, thief, abomination, you are no true baby. The human shall fall, and all will feel Grodd's rage. My devolution technology will unleash primal savagery on this earth under my control alone. Mankind's rule is over. And as the age of the apes begins, Grodd will reclaim what is his, and the world will feel his wrath.
helps each other out on shift, and everyone else, including her, also knows that I have dyslexic aphasia, and that if they just tell me, we can get things done faster. Never mind that I have no clue what she has or hasn't done in the back. Well, at one point, she decides I don't need the food on the plate for my order, that I'm trying to get off the pass, so she takes it and tells everyone she can just wait. She says it like I'm not standing inches away, waiting on her to move so I can get it. The looks that followed were priceless. I somehow keep it together. At another point, I walk out from the back and look around to see what needs to be done, and she says, "There's plenty to do around here. Don't just stand there." And I just walk from the back. I finally speak to the owner again about this. I explain that I came in when I was grieving a devastating loss, and to be treated just like that was absolutely ridiculous. I didn't deserve it. And sure, I've messed things up since I've been there, even before having a lot on my mind. But this wasn't like that, and even if it was, I've been there a month. I'm not a career waitress yet. I just started. She blamed me for the kitchen losing my ticket and said I should have just known that. The people had been maybe waiting 15 minutes. It's a little long for what they ordered, but we were also slammed. I just can't with this psychotic woman. I've never seen anyone with so little empathy. I wasn't asking to have my hand held or anything like that, but she looked for things to go crazy about. I told them that, and I didn't get scheduled with her this week for the first time, and I honestly hope it keeps up. I love everyone else, and without the stress of her, I actually make less mistakes. I don't feel so on edge. It's been a great work week so far. I've heard her speak to one other person.